Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining me for Grace with Paul Gray. If you've been with us for a while, you know that on Mondays I call them musical memories or something like that. I can't even remember what I've called them now. But I like to talk about people I've known and been involved with in the past. And for me, many of those have been musicians. I want to talk to you today about a little lady. I'm not sure she was 5 foot tall. Her name was Jeanette Cass, C-A-S-S. And she taught music theory at the University of Kansas. And by the time I came there in 1965, she'd already been there probably 4 decades. She was close to retirement. She was a spitfire. Boy, she was just, she had a ton of energy. She talked fast. She was very confident, and she was no nonsense. So I took keyboard harmony from her, sight singing and dictation, and music theory. In sight singing and dictation, well, I won't go into all the details, but she found out right away that I was unable to match pitch. What does that mean? Well, that means she could play a note, and rather singing that note, bom, I might sing bom or bom or and I didn't know I was singing the wrong note. I thought I was singing the right note. You can call that a monotone. There probably are a lot of other names for it, but I couldn't match pitch. Now, I was a pretty good trumpet player, and I wanted to be a professional musician. So after a week or two of class in 1965, she called me in and she said, "You can't match pitch." I said, "What's that?" And she explained to me. And I said, "Well, okay." And she said, "You're not going to make it as a music major. You're not going to make it as a professional musician unless you get some help." Now, I knew that I had a problem because way back in the 3rd grade, I had a music teacher who wouldn't let me participate in the class music program because she told me I couldn't sing the right notes. So everybody else got to participate but me. And, you know, that was a hurtful thing. And I resolved, well, I'll show you. I'll become a musician anyway. That's not the only reason that I became a musician. So here's this lady, and she said, if you're willing, she said, you need to take 2 lessons a week for an hour each time, like Tuesdays and Fridays. She said, I will give you private lessons. I charged $2 for an hour lesson, and that was cheap even then. And she said, however long it takes, I will get you to where you can match pitch. So I said, okay. I was working a job at in the cafeteria in the dorm where I lived, and I think I was making $1.09 an hour or something like that. So at any rate, I said, okay. So she sat there and painstakingly would pound out notes on the piano and get me to slide up and down and singing till I was on the right note and then could feel it and hear it. And eventually, over the period of a couple of years, she got me to where I could do it easily and to where I could start to hear music much better. Now, she told me, she said, I said, how do you know about all this? And she said, because that's where I was. She said, when I was growing up, she was a piano player and she understood theory as I did. And she said, I wanted to be a music teacher, but I couldn't match pitch. And they told me I'd never do it. But somebody was willing to invest their time with me and to help me. And you know, she and I became great friends, and that's really stuck with me ever since then. There are things that some people are good at and others aren't. And there are times when we look at people and say, well, they'll never amount to anything because they have this problem or they have that problem. Or even in a particular industry or field, we'll just kind of write people off because we'll think, well, they'll never, they're working in that field, but they're never going to amount to anything. They're never going to be successful because they can't do this or that. Well, when you have the ability to do something and you understand what the problem is, you can help someone else. And that's really true spiritually, because we all have things that we can't do, whether you want to call it a sin or a deficiency or whatever. We have areas that we struggle with and we can't seem to overcome, and of course we can't do it over ourselves. But other people who've had the same problem and know that only Christ in them can help them. Only Christ in them, giving them wisdom, giving them strength, giving them power, actually living his life as them. That's the only way they can overcome. We can tell that to people. We can impart that to them. We can sit there and, play that note over and over again, and that note is saying Christ is in you, and he loves you, and who you are in Christ, and if you trust him, he will literally do this through you, and you can overcome whatever the challenge was because Christ has already overcome it. So this morning is my little tribute to Miss Cass. Wish I had a picture of her to show you, but at any rate, she's still in my heart, and I'm hoping today that each of us can take something from this and do something to help someone else to overcome through Christ in them, to overcome a challenge that they've not yet been able to overcome. Hey, hope this is helpful. See you next time.